Hello, everyone, and welcome back. How are y'all doing? Anything of new? Anything of old? Anything of old? What's up, guys? So, today we will be continuing with the Gears of War project, you can say. I am very much not happy with how the green came out on. Where's the focus? There it is. And how the green came out on the top of the armor, so that's something that I'll need to go back and glaze down, and then of course we've got quite a bit more work on browns, grays, and the gun, possibly a little bit more work on the face. So while all of this is marinating in my head and I try and find a good way to go about it, let's go over what we do know, and that is pretty much the base tones for everyone else. So I've been doing a little bit of undercoating for the rest of the dudes, and today just gonna carrying on pretty much. So we get a little bit more to play around with the browns on this guy, and then next. And then we'll probably do the armor panels for all of them. Okay. That's it. The armor plating. See how the undertones will look on them. And then little by little start playing around with details, pick a little bit here, pick a little bit there, and just get the thing moving, because honestly I didn't think it would be so time consuming as it turned out to be. Not that I have a deadline or anything, but I kind of wished that we can go through all 4 dudes within the span of a month. So as much as I don't like it, we're gonna have to go batch mode. Like, apparently unless it's literally one model on the painting table, I'll just always have to resort to some sort of sub-assembly batch painting, or batches or whatever. So yeah, let's just jump on in. We're gonna be using mahogany to base our browns. And then we'll see with the detailing in the armor panels and all that. So pretty much more than enough stuff to do. Let's get right on. I do have a few updates about stuff and things to make, but I will wait for people to show up if they do. It's nothing major, just little thingies that have found their way here. Very much cool. I am also trying to take advantage of the black primer as much as I can, as use it to make a natural black lining wherever possible, because these models are very detail rich. And that's part of the reason why I went for the black primer. Because that way I can pick out just parts of the details and leave the black showing underneath for detail separation. Just picking out every individual detail on everything wouldn't probably be insane, but pretty close, or at least extremely time intensive. And I kind of want to blitz through, well, not so much as blitz through as much as just keep a steady pace. And try some new stuff out, such as the aforementioned black primer. But for now, just picking out lettery bits, giving them a nice foundation. And trying to learn a little bit more about the intricacies of using the Pro Acryl paint range. Of which there are quite a few, but if you put things correctly, the results are amazing. But if you're like me and you're used to your Citadel paints, you're going to struggle a little bit at the start of it. Because you'll see that there is just so much more functionality to these paints, and you wouldn't really know what, well, you probably will. I sure as hell didn't, and still don't really know how to capitalize on all of the options that these paints give. Like the matte finish, the thinner consistency, the deeper colors for base tones. Oh, so the colors being non-triadic. So on and so forth. Definitely more artist's type paint than a craftsman's paint, if that makes sense. But I do like them, and I will put in the time to learn what to do with them. And hopefully by the time that I've reached a state of comfort, or at least better understanding, there will be a European distributor. For the range, so I can actually replenish, restock. And to be honest, I'm a little bit doubtful that there will be such a thing. For multiple reasons having to do with size of gaming stores, language barriers, shipping specificities, and all that. So quite honestly, I'm not holding my breath. So let's just use whatever we have and then see what we can do. I think it would be best to have like a Amazon retailer. With one large location for product storage. Like a warehouse to expedite the orders from. But then who's gonna maintain it? Where is it gonna be? All this is again issues that no party is really currently responsible for. So it's not really on anyone's table to be resolved. And so this is why I am not holding my breath for any tangible updates on the matter. But at some point there will be some development, I'm sure. Probably not gonna be anytime soon though. I also haven't picked out too many details to be metallic for this project, and I was considering not having any. Sort of try just minimal non-metallic metal for things like buckles and such. That's pretty much the worst way to introduce non-metal metallics, so I guess at some point we'll just pick out some details here and there with a few true metallics and call it a day. Because they will be very, very minuscule. I'm also not using the appropriate size brush. I should use a much larger brush for this stage, but like I said, I'm still learning the bells and whistles of the paint, so I prefer to have a little bit more control at this stage. Okay, with it, we're done with this. Oh yeah, the gloves. Gloves need to be round, any insides of the bracers. This knife. Yeah, there is a little bit more to do. And just quickly take a look at this heated discussion. Okay. Actually gonna mute this. So what was it? Gloves, right? Yeah. Arguably this here on the back, on the lower back. But now let's not go into too much detail. But like I said, there is enough of it, and if I start picking out every individual thing with a different color, it's gonna make the model look way too busy. And it's going to take a hell of a lot longer. So instead, let's just build less colors in, but make them look like, build them up in an interesting way. Because I think that'll have a more positive, more effective result. And also it's a bit of a lazier decision, which in this case, well, in cases such as miniature painting, is almost always a good idea. As you can tell, I'm very much taking my time with things that I should be blitzing through, but that is pretty much my internal dynamic at the moment. I'm kind of trying not to have to fight against it, but rather just guide the flow a little bit. Like, instead of today drilling into the issues with colors that I've already built up on Phoenix, I'm just moving about, placing base coats and undertones. Because that's how I can be productive today, and at the same time not stress out too much about the effect or having the feeling of hitting a brick wall in terms of progress. So yeah, the painting has a little bit of a study of oneself, how to keep yourself motivated, how to keep yourself generally in a, if not interrupted, then as long as possible period of time. productivity. A large part of the tips and tricks that you learn about yourself to sort of trick yourself, if you will, do manage to find themselves useful in other situations as well, so it's a win-win. Okay, so we are down to the last character. So let's start picking out some colors. Right. Just gonna start with the soles of the New Rock level boots that all of them are wearing. I just cannot get away from this analogy because it's so fun to think about. Soldiers going into battle with New Rocks, wearing New Rocks. But whatever. Just a personal peeve I've got with it. And I'm still planning on trying out wet blending for the purposes of painting the base. And I will get out, take out some of the tiles that are used to construct the map, the different maps for the scenarios. Just try to color match as many as I can and just do a fluid transition in between the main colors of those tiles. And then just probably a brown wash over the whole thing. Should be close enough to the tiles so that it wouldn't stand out too much, and at the same time it should be sufficiently unique and non-intrusive for the characters themselves. Bit of an ambitious concept. As we all know, whenever you're trying to do a 2-in-1 or a multiples in one, you usually end up not being able to pull off any one thing particularly well. That isn't gonna stop me from trying. At a certain point, I was considering painting them comic book style, like picking out a pattern and cell shading it. But that doesn't really go with the style of either the miniatures or the paint job that I'm giving them. Even though there is seemingly black lining going, there actually isn't. It's just remnants of the black primer that I leave in order to alleviate the pressure of picking out every individual detail, which we mentioned way too many times today. Hello, Harlequin, what's up? How's it going? Heyo, thanks much, man. Much appreciated. Did the alert play? What the hell's going on here? Very odd. But again, thank you nonetheless. And now that you're here, I can start throwing out of the few news that have accumulated over the course of the last few days. So first of all, I finally, finally got the Lightbox, the small product photography tent, and I use it to take photos of the Bretts, and I think that the photos are decent, and they came out a lot easier than in my previous setup, so that's it's good. Like, thankfully that worked out as expected. Yeah, I spammed a little bit, but that's just because, like, again, I tried to keep it a smaller amount of individual posts, but again, it came out a little bit too much. Should be more subtle from now on. And the other thing is that today I got my proxies for the Ogres team for Blood Bowl. And I think that this time they will do just fine. Proxies for the runts, that is, not for the ogres. The ogres have been here for a while. but I have been looking for proper proxies for the runs. And I will show them off in just a quick moment. All right. So there they are. Probably can't really tell. For whatever reason, a part of them came in metal and a part of them came in plastic. No idea why. Is because probably they had some leftover metal ones that they wanted to push. Either way, don't matter none to me. So here is an actual example of the models. Quite a bit of cleanup to do, and it's at this scale it's gonna be a bit difficult to pull off. But let me show you in comparison with not only glues are good enough for I always use super glue. I never use plastic glue. Can't be bothered, so that doesn't matter to me. But here is the size comparison with the Grebo, I was gonna say dwarf, the Grebo Halfling, so a little bit shorter than the Halfling, which I think is good considering they're supposed to be strength 1. A nice flat surface on the back for probably putting in a player number. All in all, I'm pretty happy with them. They will be a bit of a bitch to paint because of how small they are, but apart from that, should be good to go. And also, they come in packs of 14. So 14 of these and 2 or 3 models that are stunned or knocked down, which I just won't use. So a good amount that's gonna come into play since the ogres have a few weird rules about collecting additional dudes. In terms of, like, was it Swarm or yeah, I think Swarm. But that's not the interesting thing. So I go out to the post office to pick them up, and I notice that the box that they come in is very, very big and very heavy. Like, again, this is essentially the entire shipment with a few packs for bases. But it was a lot heavier, and I don't know if it was a mistake or if Mantic is currently running some sort of marketing campaign or anything, but it actually came with this. A hardcover Adventurer's Companion for Dungeon Saga. Which, as far as I can tell, is a nice little fantasy dungeon crawler. And this appears to contain pretty much all of the rules that you need to play it. It is some sort of an expansion to a base game. So yeah, you have pretty much a extensive RPG or miniature dungeon crawler in the likes of Warhammer Quest. The only thing is that I noticed that there are a lot of equipment cards that probably need to be purchased separately. Apart from that, it is the rulebook for a perfectly playable little No, it covers the base rules and it expands on them. I haven't had a chance to really get a thorough look at it, but I think that as long as I get the equipment cards and whatnot, and some random fantasy miniatures, I think I can cobble up a playable version of it, which is really nice. I didn't have fantasy dungeon crawler. Technically these guys, so Gears of War is technically a dungeon crawler, and so is the Wolfenstein board game, but they are all either sci-fi or alternate history type thing, so having the rule set for a fantasy one is pretty nice. I don't hate that one bit. But it did puzzle me, like, why did they include this? Because again, it's a hardcover. If it was promotional material, Luke Hero, I saw it a few days ago. Just it is very likely a mistake. Yeah, I think it was a mistake. But I'm gonna treat it as a cool little thing. Take a note when they give you presents. Yeah, that's true. Also, they didn't include the payslip in the box, so I can't actually see if that's part of the order that they included. Like, how did it come to be? I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience shopping, buying stuff from Mantic directly. So I don't know what their practices are. At least edition list. Possible things to buy. Yeah, no, there is no logical reason for this to be there. But I'll take a look at it if the rules are comprehensible enough. It's based off of the Kings of War franchise, so miniatures from that range would fit. I don't know. It doesn't hurt to have it around, and we'll see. Can be put to use. Luke Hero is a cute little game. Circus reestablishing Lost World. Ain't a joke of it. I've been laughing for a while. Okay, Circus. Yay. I did see it, but it didn't really catch my eye too much. So it was more of a quick glaze over. Loop, 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 loop. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I watched it over at Splattercat's channel that I've been kind of binging lately as well. So that's pretty much all in terms of news. Not too much, nothing truly exciting, but like, you know, genuinely good news. And that should be appreciated. At least I do. It's not often, but just nice little things happen. And I will try to make use of the book. My initial thought was to just put any more minis, photos, progress. Yeah, stuff is happening. And I've gone back to batch painting these guys because it was taking a little bit too long to finish up one individual mini. And I wasn't necessarily really happy with how the green came out on Phoenix, so I will have to do some touch-ups. I'd like to have a look at the book. Oh, absolutely. If next time we meet, I can bring it to you. Like, even if I read it right now, there isn't much that I can do about it, and also I do need to give you your treatment. So no problem. I did notice that it has a mechanism for building your own character, so you have pre-built characters, but you can also roll for them. So you can get something a little bit more custom. But I have never seen playthroughs of the game, pretty much anything about it. So I have no idea if it works well mechanically. Mantic have been doing quite a few dungeon crawlers in their time, so I suppose they are competent enough in that. They did Hellboy, which was pretty good. And also a Monster. And a few more, I think. Oh yeah, no, that's not a dungeon crawler though. Dead Zone? It's not rocket science. Yeah, but I mean, still, there are... Some games feel more organically put together than others. Calipoli. Puli and Puli are doing such a game. Oh, okay. Yeah, there are a bunch of them out there, but again, it's gonna take some testing. I'm gonna dig around and find out more about the game itself. See how much of a proxy dump it can be. My idea was to use any leftover fantasy models from like Blood Bowl projects or any other games. Yeah, gotcha. Miniature side of things. I don't know. We'll see. Certainly not at the top of the priorities list, but you can't help but think for it since it just fell into my lap, pretty much literally. also look at related products and all that stuff. Yeah, it's alright. We should make a company called like that. And that'll confuse people so much. Gonna be awesome. I've been using it wrong, but it's alright. Still comes across as it is. But yeah, imagine if there was actually like Sulu and Pulu Co. or LTD or... And it's like literally they made it. Or can do it. Or are doing it. That'd be so awesome. Oh, another thing that came across my line of sight. I found a very interesting site. Don't know if you know. You probably heard of it. About a very nice archive for Bulgarian rock music. That I think you may find interesting. It's kind of like Encyclopedia Metallium, only for Bulgarian bands specifically. It, if you search by style, rock and blues, punk, yeah, it has punk. Has quite a few punk bands actually. Wow, wow. Okay, yeah, there are quite a few. And they range from 1988 all the way to, well, today really. Then they have some small, like biographies, members, discographies, short summary of what the band stands for and whatnot. Years active. Yeah, exactly. You can probably find some interesting little bits and pieces here and there. And it has discographies, it has members, current, or at least last active and previous. He leaked. Anyway, I think it might be just something fun to check out every once in a while. I know I have, but sadly, the industrial subcategory is probably the least full, so the least populated. But some cool little jams may come out. I just thought to share it with you. Noisecore, punk, grindcore. How the hell does that come together? Maybe they had different periods? Interesting to search them out. Tell me about it. Punk and grindcore? So yeah, like I said, exactly the same type of feeling that you get from Encyclopedia Metallium, only local. for local talent. Which is cool. I mean, it had to be done. And the reason why I found this archive was this weird thought that came from nowhere, really. And that is how many local groups, local bands have managed to get signed or to extensively play abroad. And honestly, apart from Artery, who were arguably formed in the Netherlands and don't exist anymore, and Milena, rapcore, hardcore, so the category's a bit vague. Yeah, they are probably, I don't know, if they are going over the styles as described by the band, or if the person creating the archive actually attributes the genres to them. That's always been an interesting point to me about how a band sees itself in terms of stylistic identification, and how it comes across to its listeners and critiques. So this is one of those cases where I don't know if this is information that's been given by the band or by the person that's compiling the archive. But anyway, still worth the check. So yeah, do you know? Control refused to accept being punked themselves. Really? Well, that's punk of them, but yeah. But yeah, can you think of any bands that have made it big or that are abroad? Do I know what you started asking? Yeah, if you know of any bands, any local bands that were able to find a scene abroad, like in Europe or in the States. Because I thought about it, and the only things that came to mind were Artery and Milena. Artery being, of course, in the Netherlands, and Milena in the States for over a decade or so. But other bands, not so much. Like, I'm sure they are. They're just, it's just not information that's kind of circulating. Just really random thing that came. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. But I haven't really heard of them, like, being abroad. And then that's the second question. Why not? Why don't we get any such information? Why isn't this more widely broadcast? Because I'm sure that there are a lot of bands, like, especially newer bands like Jeremy, that appear to be created with the idea of being marketed abroad. But you don't get any information on that, which is odd. Yeah, nice, see? That's cool. Why isn't this more widely known, or is it just me who is really not up to speed? Which is true, I'm not really keeping up. I think Nameless Day Ritual are also have worked in the States at some point, have played in the States, but I'm not sure again. Did you manage to like Grummy Moni? yes, I remember you, you sent me some, yeah, they're fun. I'm also gonna do a checkup on this in these archives every now and again and try and pick out some bands to listen to. Sadly, not on stream though. Boo. But I did remember a hell of a lot of like early aughts bands like Bastard Duo May, Suffer H, Culm, and all of those. And just seeing the names written out somewhere kind of just made me feel good. Gave me good feels. Hyperborea, of course. Not sure if I remember them. Yeah, they were around, all of those bands. And I'll be honest, like most of them I've only heard through Fractura. But still. Necrolock were nice. Yeah, Turnocop. Grunwom. All sorts of stuff. And the new ones, I'm actually very interested to take a look at the new ones as well. See what the new talent is like. I actually happen to know one of them, so Abysmatic. I think I've talked about them on stream. Among the newer bands. Oh wow, why did I leave all of this? And of course you can have the most fun going through the grindcore bands, just the way that they're named. I haven't checked if Anally Dissected Angel was there. I think they were from Burgess. But I don't think they were grindcore. Probably just death. Who knows? Oh, here I'm making life hard for me as I'm placing way too much brown and brown adjacent things next to each other, and I'll have to think of ways to separate the details from one another. Anal Dissected Angels. Ah, Sophia. I didn't know. Why did I... Interesting. Why did I thought that they were from Burgos? Maybe I'm confusing them. Either way, their name came up when there was some uproar from, I think, Poland, that Madonna or someone was coming to have a concert, and the church had a fit about it. And at the same time, Anally Dissected Angel were... No, it was when they were coming here. Bleh, whatever. Bulgar display of power. Nice. Yeah, I knew that you'd be able to have some fun with these archives. I know that I'm gonna have some more fun with them for sure. And maybe actually find some cool things to listen to. In the meanwhile. Okay, I think that's us with the lettery bits. So we can go back and start working on the armor. Last hope. Oh, they have. Nice. Yeah, I've listened to Last Hope before. They're nice. Oops, that's a bit too much text. Wow, okay. Agnostic Front, Madball, Biohazard, Napalm Death, Murphy's Law, Ignite Backfire, Anthrax, Stamping Ground, Integrity, DRI. Solid stuff! Hate Breed, Suicidal Tendencies, very nice. Very, very nice. See, that's the kind of stuff that I would like to hear more of. But, honestly, when you think about it, there really isn't where to hear this from that much, apart from, like, Fractura or C-Rock, the radio. I don't know, just felt odd to have this lack of intonation to this. Anyway, I will take a quick break, and I'll be right back rooning. And I'm back. Oh, the Synthwave playlist has been updated to basically twice its length, which is nice. You want to check the notifications. Okay, so they work when I push them through. Weird. Oh well. Anyway. Let's try and paint with a bigger brush, shall we? A bit smaller than this. Meh, who cares? Right, so next armor color is blue. We got a choice of dark blue and dark gray blue. I think I'm gonna go with just dark blue. We're going for really dark stuff. Today I bought myself a new brush from the other castle. It was a surprise they sell these. Oh, nice! Is it any recognizable brand or? Really don't like games. Yeah. Fair enough. Some Russian brush, okay. If you want just brushes, you can always go to Sventruglet. It's a regular smorgasbord of brushes of all shapes, all sizes, and all materials. Solid. Also, they have Rubloff Kalinsky. Okay, so Kalinsky is Sventruglet is a bit. Not necessarily, it depends on what you want to get. But yeah, sometimes. Okay. So that they have some nice mediums and stuff that might come in handy. Everything is overpriced. But it is available. I don't know. Depends on what you need. So I did manage to get these, the Dollaroni inks, and they're like $5 a pop, $6 a pop, which is everything catching my eye. Fair enough, fair enough. Right, so only thing I wanted to add is that Kalinsky is the type of sable. So it's a natural sable brush that you got. Well, that's all. Model behaves weird. Okay, so this dude is gonna get himself a blue armor. Need some spanking. What? For the behavior. Ah, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna clear those things out after the stream with this sweet paint pot. I saw there was a survival game where you can use monkeys as sort of work slaves. Well, not work slaves, but like to do stuff on your behalf. I immediately thought of the current predicament. What's this? Just give me a second. Check it out right away. Just want to finish off this boot while I still think I can see all of the details. You must tire down. Yeah. Pretty much. It's a necessity. So this blue has a little bit more purple in it than I expected, but that's fine. We're gonna make it work. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I just thought it'd be more of a blue. Hmm. The other hand, in the Mantic website, there is no such physical book for sale. Oh, so maybe it is a promotional thing. Because I remember, let's say, GW did something like this. They had some excerpts from Black Library for the 20th anniversary. With any purchase over X amount, you were to get a few short stories from the Black Library. The Adventurer's Companion. Here's the subtitle. No such book at all. Weird. Either way, I can't hate the furry stuff, so. We'll see if we can manage to put it to some use. Planet Studio, when I bought everything but one model for their Frog team, they sent me that one as a gift. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that does tend to be sort of a practice with smaller companies. Deluxe box and 5 to 6 boosters. Wow, okay. Yeah, they do tend to like. I've had the similar thing happen with the Draft franchise, where I got a few models for Human Team. It's nice. It's nice to get a little extra. Well, the Adventurous Companion is a box set. Oh, okay, let's check this out. Inside the book there is a lot of stuff. Yeah, probably cards and tokens and dice and all that. Take a look at it in just a moment. Play solo or full co-op, these rules allow for a new and engaging single-player experience in addition to a cooperative model in which no overlord player is required. Yeah, so I saw that you can either use it for solo or you will have a sort of dungeon or game master, but just in terms of the challenges to be placed. So probably less in terms of narrative and more just spawning monsters and controlling them instead of relying on AI deck, like most games who offer solo play do. Let's take a look. Yeah, so a ton of cards, dice, tokens, the works. Oh, that's probably a character roster or something. Interesting. What else do they have on Dungeons? I'm like, do they only have like the Adventurous Companion, Digital, Dungeon Saga FAQ? What is this? Does it have all the shit in here to print out? Interesting. Core rules are also free. Interesting. I think we may be able to cobble some stuff up. If there is printable stuff, worst case scenario, they come like to the wrong box or the book. And they send you the book. Yeah, but the way that this is packaged, look at, I don't know. Either way, it's a good thing that it happened, and I am a happy boy for it. Some adventure packs, some monsters, some heroes. Ah, there it is. Oh god. Yeah. Yeah, nice. I'm gonna see if these, if the digital stuff have stuff to print out and cut out, like character cards and monster profiles and whatnot. Well, no, the monster profiles are actually in the book. So item cards and things that you would draw from, like that you would need to create decks for. I'll look into it at some point. Well, you're actually ready? Weird. So you know what I'll do? I'm going to paint your buckle. Oh, because I don't want to paint it metallic. It's just gonna be blue. Glaring S's? I don't think so. Alright, fair enough. Okay, so this guy, I'm gonna give him a red armor. I'm gonna start off with burnt red. Comes on a little bit on the bright side, unfortunately. But that's fine. It's still workable. I'm gonna have to dull it down a little bit. With maybe some transparent brown. Before I start building it up. That's a little bit too bright for a undertone. Maybe I should have mixed it with the with the mahogany. give it a chance to dry. See how it looks. Because I see it drying pretty dark here. Oh, it might work. Yeah, I think it's gonna work. It just... being wet, it's a lot more vibrant than when it dries, but let's let it dry and just take a quick look. Make a quick assessment. I think we're good. As long as I don't paint it too thick. It's not gonna be a problem with this brush. It really holds a lot of water. Meaning that the paint is really thinned down inside of the brush actually. So there's no risk of putting too thick paint on the model. There's a pretty nice model that the Loco painters are voting for the next Loco event. But the STL file is really expensive for a single model, and that doesn't include printing it out. So I might have to miss out on that. But if they provide the model, the STL, definitely print it out because it's a really cool thing. It's a post-apocalyptic girl with a big axe. It's really nice. Printing shouldn't be that expensive. Well, the file itself is $24. Which is about as much as a entire Blood Bowl team box. So not necessarily an amount I would like to part with for a single model. It's a bit steep, even though it is. Like, it shouldn't matter actually for an STL what the size of the model is. Just the intricacy of the sculpt of the design. I don't know. Bit iffy. Yeah, $40 for a single model. And it is like, I think it's a 75 mil or a 50 mil, so it's gonna be a solid 20 to print it out. But I don't know, maybe I saw it wrong. This sounds like an 80s horror movie theme. It's kind of nice. Also, voting hasn't come through, so it might not be that model at all. So we'll see. The reason I'm bringing it up is because I was thinking about painting a single model that I don't have to batch paint and just sit down and spend a whole month of painting a single model. And just really drill into the details and the blends and just play with it. Because that was my idea for these guys, but at the end of the day, we're gonna have to do this in the old-fashioned way. For Americans. I mean, again, maybe I didn't see it right. Maybe it may be for the entire Patreon that's a monthly and it comes with more models. I don't know. It's just something I glimpsed. They usually do. Again, I will sort of monitor the development. If not, I always have the Joanna project. But she will take a month just of conversion work before I even get to the point of painting her. And I'm not really gonna or promote someone. Yeah, there are actually. As you can see, the new logo is local painters and sculptors, so multiple talent is being featured. We'll see. Just bringing it up to keep conversation moving along as I am laying down base colors roughly. I think next time, like Wednesday, as you can see, the new tracer. Yeah, I'm sure I knew it was that, but the way I posted it and the way that my preview window is working sort of made it look like there was something else. Anyway, never mind that. So yeah, Wednesday is probably gonna be faces. All three remaining dudes will get their faces done. And this guy is gonna get his arms done probably in whatever flesh types there are. Just focus on a single thing so we can move things along. Hello, Saima. Yeah, this is a red over black. I am, however, intentionally keeping it darker because I want to slowly build it up this time around. So for this layer, I just need a hint of red to capture. It's going all right, man. Thanks for asking. How are things on your end? I did finish the breads, and I finally got the light box delivered, so I took some pics of the completed project. And this is what's next in line. A little bit of a sci-fi project to keep me interested, like just a little bit of a palate cleanser. And yeah, I'm gonna try and make like take advantage of the black primer and sort of use it to emphasize detail separation, so I really don't want to cover too well. Just a basic hint of the main color that's gonna be effectively used as undertone. And then gradually build it up. And I try to keep it subtle. Like here, I completely went off the rails, unfortunately. I will need to glaze this green down quite a bit. And it is because this sort of got me angry that I'm doing batch work today. Because I pretty much worked on this green for the entire stream, and at the end of the day I screwed it up. Like, the last 20 minutes or 30 minutes of the stream, I just ruined everything that I had been building up for 3 hours. So I was a little pissed. But it's alright. It's gonna get amended. It's gonna take a little bit of doing. Need to push myself to paint at some point, only messed a bit with the letters of Ogre. So basically it's not even properly lit yet. No, don't say that. Like, even the smallest things, like, I usually paint very little during the weekend, if at all. And last time I just sat down for like an hour and painted some gray. Sorry. To cover up these guys' pants. So literally any brushstroke that you place is progress. I think I do need to do the ankle guard medals before working on the straps around the legs. Yeah, because if you're following the rule of thumb to paint from the inside out, it does make sense because the straps, for whatever reason, are protruding outside quite far away, so it would definitely be easier to do the metals first and get the ankle guards, the straps on the ankles later. And I do not believe in me not screwing up metallic bar paints in the... Oh yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, it had to come to the taking of the photos for me to realize that I've overbrushed leather over the metallics. But it was way too late to make any amends to that, so it's just gonna be like that. Photos are so cruel. They most certainly are. Because it's more, no matter how little zoom you used, it's always a lot larger than what you paint. And it's a different angle to which you look at it. It affects quite a few details on the breaths based on those. Oh, really? Nice. But yeah, they highlight a lot of stuff you might not want to get seen. Net positive overall? Yep. It's just that initial, oh damn, when you see the error or the misstep, that's like, god damn it, I worked so hard for this and I missed this completely, or I spilled forward and all that. Alright, this dude, I think we're gonna call him Based. So far we have him with who's gonna have a nice blue armor, and I'm gonna paint his hair blonde to give him a little bit of contrast. Base to base contact. And this dude is gonna get a purple armor. Plan to give Ogre a little bit more care than the rest due to size. Yeah, it's he's actually a very enjoyable piece to paint. With the exclusion of a few, like the metal trims. Sorry. With the exclusion of the metal trims on the front part of the plate armor. Apart from that, everything is just a joy. Details are large, you can play around with shades and tones all you like. The face is very expressive, so doing contouring and all that is, again, just a blast. Based on the quality of having an opinion without regard for what other people think, offer a controversial opinion, but not always. Upon expressing such an opinion, it is customary for others to acknowledge the person is being based. Ah, gotcha. Fair enough. Okay, there's a bit of... I think I knew that, but... Like the gloves, different tone of inner, outer, and the reinforced finger guards. Oh yeah. You wanna go there? Also around the waist, there is so much opportunity to do stuff with like all of the what do you call it? Like the dress type part. And the belt. What was I reaching for? Purple. Did you decide on a tattoo, or are you gonna skip it? So much to take in. It is quite a bit. That's why I went very simple. Like, I don't think it's a belt. It starts with a belt. Just a reinforced plate. Oh, you think so? But it has a buckle. I don't know. I just couldn't really do anything that wouldn't take too much. Buckle seems like a strap that holds the plate on tight. Oh, okay. Yeah, and it doesn't really have any texture to it on the sculpt, so you might be right actually, yeah. That might actually be true. It has also other part up on the huge sigil. You can get greenish shade of leather. Ooh, nice. I have never done a greenish shade, but I've seen it done, and it's really nice. Really nice idea. I really need to break out of my like intuitive colors that I always reach for. I really need to do something more interesting. Like if you have the ogre at hand. Yeah, let me take a look at it. Try to figure out what it's meant to be. I mean, the sigil doesn't actually reach the belt, if it's a belt. On the back, like, it's definitely a separate piece of something. But the overall lack of texture, I don't know, you can treat it any way you like, I think. The part between the buckle is a strap. Oh yeah, okay. Let's see that. Like on the inside here can be a strap. Because you can see here, maybe that's just a problem of the sculpt or anything, or the cast. But it does tend to protrude. Not sure. Like I said, I just couldn't really think too hard about it at some point. I just slapped it on in the most basic way possible. Because it wasn't, in my case, this wasn't a focal point anyway, so there wasn't that much point to emphasize it. Because if I spend too much time highlighting these bits and particles here, they would detract from the top part of the model. And so I just decided to keep it plain. And I also just wanted to finish the project. Look at the top of the plate sigil, right? Goes under the hole for the head. Oh right, you think that this is kind of like this? Maybe. Maybe. the fact that I already painted it as leather makes it really hard for me to see it as anything else. But I can see that there is a point to what you're saying. Yeah, for sure. I think it's holding a mechanic to keep the plate on. The belt is just a plate that goes under and is part of that. Oh, right. Like a protected, a plated belt. Could be. Could be. I might try to think this too hard. If you have the time to dig around, you can try and see, because they have to have used inspiration from something. So you can probably check like Florentian medieval plate mails and see if they have something that's reminiscent of this type of build. But that's only in case that you really wanna do your homework, so to speak. Because you can always do as I did and just take artistic license. Abuse your artistic license and just say, I dub the belt. And just don't thread over it. It's always an option. Meanwhile, on this front, nothing really interesting. Just tinting a black primer in slightly purple. Also, I think I forgot to complain about this, but the primer I used came out almost mirror levels of reflective gloss as a finish, and it looked horrible. So after priming the models, I had to go in with a heavy dry brush and paint on black over the black primer just to matte the whole thing down. And I think that for future uses I might just spray on some matte varnish. Time well spent, yeah. Exactly. Let's paint black over the black primer just to get it manageable. Really wasn't happy with this. But yeah, next time I'll probably just spray with the matte varnish over the black primer. Because I'm not gonna toss away a full rattle can. But I haven't had the problem yet. Like, I've used the same manufacturer, being Tamiya and Mr. Hobby. I've never had a glossy finish like this. That being said, I have only used their grays and whites before. It's the first time I'm using black. But yeah, that was a bit of a surprise I wasn't expecting. With that being said, if I had been expecting it, it wouldn't have been much of a surprise, so never mind what I'm... Don't listen to me. And it didn't have a note of being glossy. No. Well, with the Tamiya and Mr. Hobby stuff, you have to take everything with a pinch of salt, because most of it is in Japanese. And my written Japanese isn't all that good, so... There may have been a note that it's glossy, but... I do know that there are some that have both matte and glossy. It's possible. It's possible. It's also possible that I haven't shook it enough. Or I just didn't pay attention to what I was buying. But no, like, all of the instructions are in Japanese, and that makes it a little bit on the tough side to distinguish what's what. Anyway, I'll deal with it. It's just an extra step that I'll have to take whenever I'm using the black primer, and that's black. Ain't nobody got time for that shit. Why would you have a glossy primer though? Like, that's stupid. Especially a black one. Like, I can see it for brighter colors. Like, if you want to run an enamel wash right over the primer, sort of use it as a base color and do some sharp panel lining, then, you know, using a gloss would just focus on panel lining, but I don't know. Okay. Just having a bit of a moan. Yes, under true metallics. Yeah, maybe. Might help. I don't know, like, this is literally the first project I've ever used black primer. I've always used gray, and I think once I used white. So this is a completely new experience for me. And I'm trying to make the best of it. Because there are some interesting things that you can do with black that you can't do with gray. And black in itself is a lot more forgiving, because you can leave certain places unpainted and they would just register as deep shadows. You can also do what I'm doing right now, which is set up for a very dark undertone and slowly build up. Also for very detail-rich models such as these. You can just do overbrush and let the black work as extreme shadow and simulate black lining. Kind of go for the a little bit of a comic book style or cell shaded style, as it just builds up naturally, but it's also slower in a way. I don't know. I'm learning about it as I go, so most of what you'll hear out of me throughout the whole process is just ramblings and impressions. I'm also gonna be painting this project entirely with the Pro Acryl range to sort of learn the ins and outs of those paints as well. Get a better handle on it, because they do behave a little bit differently than your Citadels, and breaking out of that habit does take a little bit of time. Okay, I think we've got a decent purple coverage. Let's go once again there. Hang over the plates and stuff. Not too hard. All right, solid. We're doing time. We got about 45-ish minutes. 40-ish to 45. So what to do? What can we start doing? Maybe go back to you and actually get you up to snuff. I think that might not be a horrible idea. I can start off highlighting some of the gray clothes. See how that turns out. We'll need a smaller brush for this. We're going to be using dark warm gray. I know we should be actually working on the green, but I am still a little bit under effect, so let's go for something a little bit more simple. Alright, let's see. Hmm. Should I have used the bright warm gray? I don't know. I don't want to go too bright with this. As a matter of fact, I want it to be as muted as possible, since the focus needs to fall on the color of the armor plates. And in his case, the bandana. So this will have to be kept a little bit more subtle and non-intrusive. I'm basically just overbrushing whatever small details stick out. And what catches, catches. Like, again, this is all of the models here are pretty busy in terms of details, so I really don't want to emphasize on the busyness. As a matter of fact, I want to simplify it as much as possible and emphasize the points of interest through color instead of just lots and lots of details to pick out manually. This was dark neutral gray afterwards, treated afterwards with dark, with transparent black is the word I was looking for, as usual, lacking in my repertoire. So it brought down the overall hue, and I can now restore it. I think that'll do it, actually. That's kind of good, because you can see on the back, going any brighter than this, it's going to start clashing with the green, and you don't necessarily want to do that. Something else that I can do is probably highlight the letters a little bit more. Or I can do the same with the other peeps. Because I've already washed them. So we can bring up the gray and keep it as sort of a reference point for when I start building up their respective armor tones. to kind of keep it in line so that I don't repeat the error with the green armor. Let's see if that'll work. And for the browns as well, for that matter, because my initial thought was let's cap off the highlights with golden brown. Golden brown is a little bit on the bright side. And again, it might take a little bit too much focal points away. From the armor. But I can't leave it as a two-stage highlight job, so it's probably gonna have to see something more. Just not sure what to mix with it. It's already pretty pale, so adding more off-whites isn't gonna help the situation. So maybe golden brown mixed with the light umber. Ooh, I've been watching some of Marco Frisoni's stuff recently. I saw his really cool quick paint job of Infinity model, and there were a lot of cool things in that tutorial for sort of, if not quick, then at least not hard to achieve interesting effects, specifically for what was it, glass-like visors, textures of visors, reflection of on sort of transparent glass stuff. And another thing from John Ninius's recent video is something that I did know a long time before, but I've never actually put into practice. And that reminded me of it, and I might want to try to do it on some project, and that's the mother color theory. I've been sort of trying here and there to apply it for specific colors, but I've always just abandoned it halfway through, and I think that's something I should reevaluate. Probably not for like gaming miniatures, but for something that would have a display purpose, definitely would be worth it. Play around with mother colors. There's so many cool things in this hobby to just try. And naturally, when you actually see it done well, it instantly triggers you to try it as well. Which is basically a setup for a disaster, because you're trying out something that you don't know how to do, but you know sort of how you want it to end up looking. And as a result, process will vary in terms of pain, growing pains. But it's nice because you always end up knowing more than you did going into it. That's cool. Kind of like how this gray is coming along. I'm only a little bit worried about the overall brightness of it. But that can always be fixed with just like another coat of transparent black or whatever. Gotta believe in the method. Yeah. We'll see what comes out of these guys. Like, I'm not overly concerned, but still something that has elements where I'm not very much in familiar waters. So it's at the same time exciting and a little bit weird. A little bit anxious, anxiety inducing. It is, however, so much easier to build up texture, to simulate texture, that is, than to... I don't mean that it actually builds up paint. These are really thin. I don't know about this one and the next one's splash of color place. Because for this guy, we have the red bandana. That sort of works as the counterpoint. Here we'll have blonde hair, which will also act as such. But for the last two... nothing stands out. Here you can argue the grenade. The grenade is not central enough. It's way too much at the side of things. It's gonna have to be some part of the armor itself. Or just, I don't know, not sure. Did I wash this? It doesn't seem to be leaving enough of a contrasting line like the others did. Oh yeah, there it is. It'll be fine. What was that about Ninja's video? He was talking about mother colors. And I just realized that that it is something that I have known in the back of my head, but I never really put to use more than across a couple of colors. But it's a cool thing to keep, like, consistency of the project, consistency of the tone of the project. if that's what you're trying to do, which usually it is. It's like picking out one color and making sure that it's in. No, you literally just pick one color and you mix it in everything else. Like, you can pick blue and just make sure that every color that you put on the model has just a tiny little bit of blue. And so on and so forth. Yeah, just the tiniest, slightest hint, especially when we're talking highlights and stuff. But yeah, just keep a little bit of it. It's about about every color, so at least a little bit of yellow. Like you mixed yellow into the purples, because that's basically the point. Every color that you place has to have a little bit of it. But that is one of those things that I think would look better on a larger model, where you can actually build a theme around it, like individually. Because when you're doing army type things, like squads or larger skirmishes or armies, it's the more vibrant and more visible, like the more complementary aspects that stand out, rather than the subtleness of undertones and additives to your color composition. So I'm not sure if that's something that's gonna find a good place in gaming miniatures, but if you're doing a display piece or a diorama, that would be amazing. And again, it's something fun to have in your toolbox as an idea. And again, something that I did know at some point, but I forgot. Probably in school. I did use that at some point. I don't know. But it was a nice reminder. Okay. So let's try and find the third highlight for the browns. So this is, if I'm not mistaken, a light umber so far over mahogany. Yeah, that's light umber over mahogany, and I'm gonna add a little bit of golden brown to this for the third final mix. And hopefully it's not gonna be too harsh, but one can only hope. And a little bit of the golden brown. Let's see what we get. Might lose vibrancy, fortunately. I might have to go over it with a glaze. But I think there's no way around it at this point. The umber really desaturated the whole brown, even if it had a nice juicy mahogany underneath. So yeah, I think we're just gonna have to blend it out a little bit more. Maybe reintroduce the brown via transparent brown or a glaze of mahogany or something. So I do want to keep color vibrancy at least to some extent. Or I might just leave it, I don't know. Nah, it probably has to be toned down. We are getting good contrast though. So that's something. Probably shouldn't bother with the lowest part of the model, but Okay. Ish. I don't know. Anyway, I think that this is as good a place as any to call it for the evening. We've done some stuff, not a lot, and most of it not too good. But with being said, I will be back on Wednesday. Till then, thank you very much for being here with me today. The company is always very much appreciated. Until we meet again, keep doing what you love and loving what you do. Have a lovely, wonderful rest of your evening, day, or whatever time and point of the day it is where you're at. And I'll be signing off. Bye bye for now. See you again.